Why living in Italy has become impossible. Everyone dreams of Italy, the food, the la dolce vita, the golden sunsets, and espresso at sunrise. But for many Italians, life in their own country has quietly become difficult, even impossible. Beneath the postcard image lies a growing economic and social pressure that's changing how people live, work, and dream. Italy has always been romanticized: small towns on hillsides, crowded markets, family lunches that last for hours. But the modern Italian reality is far more complicated. In 2025, the average take-home salary is around 1,500 euros per month, one of the lowest in Western Europe. Meanwhile, in major cities like Milan or Rome, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment has reached nearly 1,000 euros per month. That's before utilities, transport, or food. For many, more than 60% of their monthly income disappears before the first weekends. Let's put real numbers on this. The average Italian worker earns about 1,500 euros net per month, and that's if they have a stable job. In Milan, renting a small one-bedroom apartment costs about 1,000 euros a month before utilities. Add 150 euros for electricity and gas, 50 euros for transport, and another 300 euros for groceries. After paying for housing and basic expenses, most people have barely 50 euros left. In Northern Europe, a similar worker earns twice as much and pays similar rent, resulting in a completely different quality of life. This economic imbalance is driving many young Italians to move abroad, not because they don't love their country, but because they want a future they can afford. Yet, despite everything, many choose to stay. It's not stubbornness, it's attachment, family, climate, culture, food, and rhythm. Even when the system feels broken, there's still beauty in the everyday. Sitting by the sea with a €2 espresso can still feel richer than earning 4 times as much in Berlin. That paradox, financial struggle versus emotional wealth, defines the modern Italian experience. Inflation has been steady but relentless, with prices for energy, food, and transport rising faster than wages. A liter of milk, once €1, is now close to 2. Energy bills that were 80 euros a month a few years ago are now double. Groceries that once filled a bag now fill half of it. Meanwhile, salaries have remained frozen for more than a decade. For many families, the cost of living has become a daily calculation of survival. Housing has become a defining issue. In cities like Milan and Rome, rent prices have exploded due to demand from students, digital nomads, and investors. Locals find themselves priced out of their own neighborhoods. The result? Multi-generational households, delayed marriages, and a record number of Italians in their 30s still living with parents. In some urban areas, more than half of renters spend over 40% of their income on housing. Emigration has surged. Nearly 200,000 Italians left the country last year, a 20% increase from the previous year. These aren't unskilled workers, they're engineers, doctors, and young professionals, the generation that Italy invested in through education but cannot retain. It's a slow leak of potential that weakens the economy's future. Unemployment remains a persistent shadow. While the official rate hovers around 7%, youth unemployment is significantly higher, near 18%. Temporary contracts, low wages, and a lack of career growth make long-term planning nearly impossible for many under 30. As a result, a silent generation is postponing everything, buying homes, starting families, or even believing in stability. Taxes and contributions weigh heavily. Italy's tax system is among the most complex in Europe, with a high burden on workers and small businesses. For someone earning 1,500 euros, nearly half of their gross income is lost to taxes and social contributions. At the same time, essential services, healthcare, public transport, infrastructure, are under strain due to years of underinvestment. It's a paradox, paying a lot but getting less. Another structural issue is public debt. Italy's debt-to-GDP ratio remains among the highest in Europe. Servicing that debt consumes national resources that could otherwise support education, technology, or social programs. When the state is financially constrained, local services suffer and citizens feel abandoned. From broken roads to long hospital queues, the signs of strain are visible everywhere. Yet, Italy is not a hopeless story. Some regions are quietly thriving. Smaller towns in Puglia, Abruzzo, and Trentino are attracting remote workers and digital nomads with lower living costs, good internet, and a slower, more human pace of life. Local governments are experimenting with tax incentives and grants for people willing to relocate. These pockets of innovation show that while the traditional system struggles, a new Italy is trying to emerge. The contrast is striking, a country full of creativity, design, and art, yet trapped in bureaucracy and inefficiency. It's as if Italy's past greatness has become both a blessing and a burden. The beauty draws the world's admiration, but the system keeps its own citizens on the edge. There's also a growing emotional cost. Surveys show that life satisfaction among Italians is declining. More people report stress, anxiety, and disillusionment with institutions. Yet, optimism remains strangely alive. Italians have always been skilled at finding joy in the small things: a family meal, a festival, a walk in the sun. That resilience is cultural capital, something money cannot measure. If Italy wants to reclaim its promise, a few key changes could make a difference. Raising wages to reflect real living costs, simplifying taxes for small businesses, and reforming housing policy would give people breathing room. Investing in youth programs, education, and digital infrastructure could turn frustration into opportunity. Above all, reducing bureaucratic barriers could unleash the entrepreneurial spirit that Italians are famous for. Italy's story is not one of failure, it's one of imbalance. A nation rich in art, food, and humanity, but struggling to adapt to modern economic realities. Living here has become difficult, yes, but not hopeless. The same creativity that built its renaissance could rebuild its future if the right choices are made. For now, the dream of Italy still exists, but for many, it's a dream they can no longer afford to live.